Well, hello and welcome to Got Clutter, Get Organized, the conversation. I am excited because I have a certified professional organizer, a fellow organizer, and you know how excited I get when I have those conversations. We have Jennifer Ford Berry, and we're going to talk about just some strategies on how we can have harmony. And I know a lot of you want it in your work, your family, but also in yourself. Have you ever thought about just having some harmony in yourself? So, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Janet. I'm excited.
So, before we get started into the strategies, what made you decide to become a professional organizer, certified professional organizer, but also you have a series of books and you're an author as well?
So it wasn't a plan. And, people like us like plans. This one was out of left field. I actually, right around 9/11 in 2001, was pregnant with my first child. And I was working for corporate. I had been in corporate for, since I was out of college. And I got laid off from my job because they cut back in the advertising department after 9/11. And so it was funny because that kind of combined with the whole thing that we went through with 9/11 was like, here I am pregnant, lost my job. And I'm thinking about the world of like, what kind of world am I going to raise my daughter in? And one of the things that I knew for sure is that I wanted to have more flexibility with my schedule and I wanted to be a present mother. And so I also knew that I could not do corporate America anymore. I could not wake up every day and just kind of feel like my job didn't matter. Like I wasn't making a mark on the world. I wasn't really truly helping anybody or making the world a better place. And so I was on this kind of, I was doing this like following through a book called Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow. And it asked me all these questions like, what are you passionate about? What skills do you have? What are if you could do anything, what could it be? Right. And I kept coming back to the fact that I loved organizing since I was a little child. Even when I was a little girl, I would go to my grandmother's house and ask her if I could organize her medicine cabinet or her jewelry or her kitchen cupboards, whatever. And of course, she was my biggest fan. So she would say yes. And this was, we're going on 22 years ago. Professional organizing, as you know, Janet, wasn't a big thing. And so I kind of tried to talk myself out of it because I only knew of two professional organizers at the time. One was Julie Morgenstern because she was a written author and she was doing this as a career. And then Peter Walsh, who used to appear on the Oprah show. And at the time, I was dedicated Oprah fan and I knew about him. So I kind of just tried to talk myself out of it. Like, well, I don't really know anybody doing this career. And then finally I gave in and I said, you know what, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to give it a try. And it just snowballed. It started out, with family and friends, people that I worked with in radio. Then it turned into moving back from North Carolina to New York, having to take a pause from it, then publishing my first book, and the book took off. And so I really dove head deep into the organizing industry, ended up, writing book after book. I got really lucky and speaking engagements happened and it just kind of grew from there. And then I realized that this is the purpose I was always supposed to live. And this is what, this is the reason I'm put here is to share this and to teach people not to be married to their stuff. Their life
Mm,
is so much more than their stuff. So yeah.
which takes us into the topic about having a harmony in our work and our family, as
Yeah.
well as, for ourselves. So, in your opinion and your experience, what are some of the things that kind of go against it? Like, what are we doing? Are there habits? Are there routines? And like you said, holding on to stuff. What are some of the things that really don't allow us to have harmony in those areas?
So I think, Janet, the biggest thing is that we are falling prey to the companies that I used to work for, the marketing companies, the advertising companies that are telling us, if you buy this, you're going to be happier, you're going to be skinnier, you're going to be wealthier, you're going to be more successful, or you're going to be more organized, right? There's a lot of products that tell you that, and it's simply not true. What we're doing is we're letting the stuff and the messages of the world control us more than letting our self be the inner guide, where we decide first what kind of life we want to live what we want our home to look like and feel like, and then we decide on which stuff aligns with that. So to me, that's where the harmony goes, kind of goes in the opposite direction, because it's hard, especially for women. There's so many things on our plate, and every day there's a long list of to-dos, there's a long list of responsibilities, and we can get so stuck just taking care of the stuff that we're not really being intentional about what stuff we're letting into our life.
I mean, as you were talking, I was like, you are right. It's like we buy all those things and we bring all those things into our homes and our lives because like you said, it makes us look good, makes us feel good. It might do this, it might even with organizing products.
Yep.
People see they need to get organized, so they run out and get everything. And it's like, well, wait a minute, let's kind of go through the stuff and see and get rid of before you go out. So you're right. So how can we, because time is just moving really fast, how can we really bring more harmony? Specifically, sometimes just for ourselves as we kind of I can't believe, get closer to almost half of 2024. But how can we bring like in our work, but also in our families, and as well as ourselves? Because I think sometimes ourselves, we just, like you said, everything else gets put to the forefront except for us.
So true. And I've been actually thinking about this question a lot lately, just through my own personal journey. And I think what happens is, for me, you first have to have time to just disengage, unplug, and ask yourself, what are your priorities? What do you want your life to be prioritized around? And not so much the right answer, right? The answer that everybody expects you to say, but truly what your spirit is telling you that you should do with your time. And so prioritize first, plan second, so that you decided, almost like you've decided the trip you're going to take and you picked your destination. Now you look at the directions, right? But you've already decided where you're going. So the planning, which means the time blocking, the time management, the scheduling, the saying yes to this, no to that, all the things we've heard from organizers for years, but in this order. So you prioritize, you plan, and then you take action. So it's almost like you do not take action. You do not start doing to-dos and tasks until you've already had this figured out. So your mind says, this is how I want to live. Not what I should do, but how I want to live, what I want my daily life to look like. And it's the same thing as what I asked myself when I was pregnant back in, long time ago now. I don't want to wake up every day and feel like it's Groundhog's Day and not feel like there's any purpose aligned with my life. Everybody can make that decision for themselves, and then they can start driving in the car in the direction of where they want their life to go, because then we don't have regrets, right? Then other people and other things are not controlling us. And I talk a lot on my own show, Janet, about making room for what matters most to us. That's a personal decision, because what matters most to me might not matter most to you. So it's up to us to decide what matters most and then make sure we live it out.
And I like what you said about saying no, but also saying yes, because I think sometimes we get stopped at, well, I'm going to just say no, but what are you going to say yes to? Now that you've made space, like you said, in your life, what are some of the things that you want to say yes to? So I really like that. And also the time blocking as well. But you just made it plain and simple. You just really figure out what you want to do and then plan for whatever that is. I like that strategy. So Jennifer, how do you stay organized? Because you're organize other people, you're a mother, you're an author, you're a podcaster, you're a speaker. So how do you manage it?
So I would say I walk the walk, right? I don't just spew out the advice. I don't have things in my home that I don't love and use. I am a huge time blocker. I'm clear on my priorities. But here's the secret sauce. If I had to say the one thing, the theme throughout everything is I'm good with boundaries. So I know what I can handle, what I can't handle. I know that I run multiple businesses. So I'll give you a perfect example. I host a retreat and we need monthly meetings, but there's also this app called Voxer. I'm sure you're, familiar with it. And that can buzz all day long from the committee and the people involved. And I am okay with turning off my settings if I'm with a client to organize them, or I'm preparing for a presentation. I'm okay with not feeling like I have to respond constantly. It's the same with personal friends and family. It's the same with kids. It's the same with everything. When I time block, I usually do set my phone for a certain amount of time, and I turn the settings off on my phone, and I don't feel bad about it. So it takes work to get there, but today was a day where I could work from my home office, meet with you, and I also had a meeting for this retreat. And so I knew today's the day I have set aside for this part of my business, and I'm going to get a bunch of stuff done. Tomorrow, I'm not going to focus on this business. I'm going to be with a couple of clients. So time blocking to me, the reason why it works is because it's a boundary. It's like a picket fence around your property line where you're saying, today I'm letting this in the fence and I'm keeping that out of the fence. And tomorrow it might look different, but boundaries are huge.
And I like what you said about feeling okay about turning things off, because I'm the same way. If I'm in the middle of something, or if, my thoughts and creativity, I don't want to be disturbed, I'll put things on silent. So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, well, first, before people can get in touch with you, because I want you to share that, but also share, because you have a series of books. It's I was looking at the Organize Now. It's almost like a series. So
Yes.
tell those watching or listening about those as well.
So Organize Now is a series of 3 books. It used to have a planner. I've discontinued the planner for now, but it's all about how to organize your life and your home. With the 3 books, it's broken into 52 weeks in each book. So it covers almost every single area you could think of. But it's simple because I found that people don't want a long-winded answer on how to get organized. They're like, just tell me how to do it. And so that's what Organize Now was built around: straightforward advice. Do this, do that. This will organize this area of your life. And then I recently put out a new book called Make Room, which goes along with what I was saying earlier about making room for the things that matter the most. And that's based on 10P principles that I teach on. So those are the books in order of how they've come out.
Mm. So, and how can listeners and those watching get your books, connect with you?
So my website's simple. It's Jennifer Ford Berry, Ford like the truck and Berry like the fruit.com. And I have tons and tons of programs, services, courses, books, products, all sorts of things to help you get organized and helps you to really be intentional with your own life and your own time and your space. And I also have a weekly podcast called The Make Room Show. And I also host and provide live events such as the Focus Retreat, which will be coming up in September. So you can work with me all different ways. And I'm on Instagram. I really kind of leaning away from Facebook. I am on there, but I'm more present on Instagram under Jennifer Ford Berry.
And of course, I will have all of Jennifer's links in the show page so you can connect with her directly. So Jennifer, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today to be here.
Thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate it. And thanks for all the work you do for this industry.
Oh, thank you. And you too.